In the frozen forests of Canada, in the winter of 1878, a man disappeared with his family. Months later, he was found alive, alone, but he was no longer human. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about North America's darkest legend, the Wendigo, a creature that roams the forests on cold winter nights. Something that was once human, but has now become a monster. For thousands of years, it has been the greatest fear of native tribes. And perhaps, it's still out there. I'm Legend CODEX, and this is the true story of the Wendigo. Wendigo, in the Algonquian language, means evil spirit or cannibal. But this isn't just a simple monster story. The Wendigo is a curse born from the darkest corners of the human soul. Descriptions of its appearance vary, but there are a few common features. The Wendigo is extremely tall and thin, almost skeletal. Its skin is pale, gray, sometimes covered in ice. Its eyes sit in deep sockets, bright and hungry. In some stories, it has deer antlers. In others, just a terrifying human silhouette. But its most horrifying feature is this: no matter how much it eats, it's never satisfied. Every bite only increases its hunger. The Wendigo is not just a monster. It is a transformation. The transformation of human into beast. And this transformation has only one cause: cannibalism. In the freezing winter nights of North America, hunger is the greatest enemy. Snowstorms can last for days. Food runs out. Game cannot be found. And sometimes people begin to consider the last resort, the forbiddens. According to the Algonquian tribes, if a person eats human flesh out of starvation, their soul is destroyed. Their body begins to change. They lose their humanity, and they become a Wendigo. That person can never return. They are cursed forever. They will remain hungry forever. And the more the Wendigo eats, the larger it grows. But it is never satisfied. This is part of the curse. Endless hunger, endless suffering. The Wendigo wanders the forests, searching for new victims. Its screams blend with the wind. Its footprints disappear in the snow. And sometimes, it knocks on your door. Native tribes fear the Wendigo so much that they can barely speak its name, because they believe that saying its name can summon it, especially during the winter months in the darkness when you're alone. The Wendigo legend goes back thousands of years. The Algonquian peoples, the Ojibwe, Cree, Innu, and other tribes lived in the northeast of Canada and the United States. Here, winters are merciless. Temperatures drop to -40 degrees. Snowstorms last for days. Survival is a battle. In these harsh living conditions, cannibalism was the greatest taboo. Not just a crime, but a spiritual catastrophe. Because native peoples believed that every living thing had a soul. Eating human flesh meant eating that person's soul as well. And this would corrupt your own soul forever. In the first Wendigo stories, typically a tribe member separates from their family during the winter months. Maybe they go hunting. Maybe they lose their way. But somehow, they end up alone. Food runs out. Days pass. Hunger becomes unbearable. And then, the forbidden thought comes. Another human. Perhaps a dead friend. Perhaps another lost person. After the first bite, the transformation begins. At first, the person feels guilt. Then that feeling disappears. Hunger takes its place. More. the body begins to change. It elongates. It thins. The eyes change. It no longer accepts human food. It only wants human flesh. In some stories, the Wendigo spirit enters dreams. It whispers to the person, "I won't leave you alone. You will be strong. You will survive. Just eat this." And if the person accepts, the spirit enters the body. It takes over. Humanity is lost. The Wendigo wasn't just a physical creature. It was also a moral warning. It reminded the tribes, no matter how difficult it gets, preserve your humanity. Don't let hunger turn you into a monster. Don't separate from the community. Don't be alone. Because loneliness brings darkness. In some tribes, Wendigos could be driven out by shamans, with special rituals, fire, songs. But this was very dangerous, because the Wendigo's power was great. And sometimes the shaman would disappear too. They would also transform. Over time, the Wendigo story was passed down from generation to generation. Every winter, elders would tell the young around the fire, never wander alone, never get lost in the forest, and never, ever think the forbiddens. Thus, the Wendigo became both a legend and a lesson, the rules of survival. But did the Wendigo remain just a story? No. In the 19th and 20th centuries, documented Wendigo cases emerged. And these were not just legends. The Swift Runner case, -1878. The most famous case belongs to Swift Runner. Swift Runner was a man from the Cree tribe. He lived in Alberta, Canada. In the winter of 1878, he went hunting with his family. He had his wife, 6 children, and his mother-in-law. 9 people in total. The winter was harsh. The snowstorms wouldn't stop. Swift Runner and his family took shelter in a cabin. But their food quickly ran out. They couldn't find game. As days passed, hunger increased. When spring came, Swift Runner arrived alone at Fort Saskatchewan. He wore tattered clothes and had a strange look in his eyes. He told authorities that his family had died of starvation, that he was very sad, that he couldn't save them, but something was strange. Swift Runner looked healthy. In fact, he could even be considered plump. How could his family die of starvation while he remained so well fed? The police became suspicious. They asked Swift Runner to take them to the cabin. And what they found there was horrifying. Around the cabin were human bones. Broken, cut, eaten bones. Skulls, ribs. Swift Runner had eaten his family. His wife, his 6 children, his mother-in-law. All of them. Swift Runner was arrested. In court, he behaved strangely. Sometimes he would cry. Sometimes he would smile. And sometimes he would say, "It forced me. The Wendigo. It took over me. I couldn't stop." The authorities didn't believe it. Swift Runner was either insane or simply a murderer. Wendigo? Nonsense. In 1879, Swift Runner was executed. But some tribes thought differently. To them, Swift Runner was a Wendigo. He had been cursed, and execution had saved him, because it prevented him from suffering eternally. Other cases, Swift Runner wasn't alone. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, many similar cases were recorded. In the 1890s, an Ojibwe man killed his family and then said, "The Wendigo took over me." Tribal leaders killed him because they believed the Wendigo could spread. In 1907, another case. A Cree shaman named Jack Fiddler was arrested. Why? Because he confessed to killing 14 Wendigos throughout his life. According to Fiddler, these people had transformed into Wendigos. Killing them saved both them and his tribe, but the Canadian government saw this as murder. Fiddler was arrested. He hanged himself before trial. Some say he feared the Wendigo's revenge. Wendigo psychosis in the 20th century. Psychiatrists began examining these cases, and they created a term, Wendigo psychosis. A culture-specific mental illness. Wendigo psychosis is defined as follows. A person develops an obsession with eating human flesh. They believe they are transforming into a Wendigo. They become prone to extreme violence and cannibalism. But here's something interesting. This disease is unique to Algonquian culture. It's not seen elsewhere. So is this a disease or a cultural belief? Some anthropologists think perhaps Wendigo psychosis is a result of extreme hunger and isolation. A person alone in freezing cold for months can truly lose their mental balance. And if they believe in the Wendigo legend, they can imagine their own transformation. Others say this: maybe some people really do transform into Wendigos. Maybe it's not physical, but spiritual. Maybe modern science just doesn't understand it yet. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain. Wendigo cases were real. People died. Families were destroyed. And survivors lived with this trauma for the rest of their lives. Today, in 2026, the Wendigo is still with us, but now in a different way. TikTok and social media. In 2024 and 2025, a trend exploded on TikTok, Wendigo sightings. People claimed to hear strange sounds in the forest, to see tall silhouettes. Videos went viral. Millions of views. In some videos, a tall, thin figure is seen in the dark forest, something resembling deer antlers. It's moving, but not naturally. Fast, jerky. And then, it disappears. Is it real? Probably not. Most are CGI or costumes. But people believed, because the idea of the Wendigo is still frightening. Especially for the younger generation, the Wendigo has become a new creepypasta. Like Slender Man, but older. More real. Wendigo in pop culture. The Wendigo is everywhere, from movies to video games. In the game Until Dawn, the Wendigo is the main enemy. Wendigo symbolism was used in the series Hannibal. The Wendigo spirit was mentioned in the movie Pet Sematary. But this popularity has disturbed some native tribes, because to them, the Wendigo is still something sacred and terrifying. Turning it into entertainment is disrespectful. Real Wendigo theories. Some people still believe real Wendigos exist, especially those living in remote areas of Canada and northern USA. Loggers, hunters, those alone in winter months. Some say the Wendigo is a type of Bigfoot, perhaps an unknown species, perhaps an evolved cannibal, perhaps truly a cursed spirit. In 2019, after a camper went missing in Canada, some people said it could be a Wendigo. They were never found. Only torn clothes and strange footprints remained. Police said it was probably a wild animal attack. But the native people thought something else. Is the Wendigo real? Perhaps the real question should be, does it need to be real? Because the Wendigo represents humanity's dark side, hunger, loneliness, despair, and these are always real. How does science explain the Wendigo? Psychologists say this: extreme stress, hunger, and isolation can break the human brain. In hypothermia, the brain sees illusions, hears sounds, feels things that aren't real. Wendigo psychosis resembles post-traumatic stress disorder. A person becomes so traumatized that they disconnect from reality. They embody their own fears. And if their culture has the Wendigo, they see it. They feel it. They believe they're transforming into it. Cannibalism is the final stage of the survival instinct. In the 1800s, people trapped in winter months really did resort to cannibalism. Like the Donner Party, like in the Andes plane crash. Humans can do anything to survive, but the Wendigo isn't just about survival. It's about guilt, shame, spiritual collapse. And that's why the legend is so powerful. So is the Wendigo real? Perhaps the answer lies in the eyes of a person dying of starvation in a frozen forest. Or perhaps the real Wendigo is the darkness within us, the fear of losing our humanity in despair. In the next video, I'll return with another legend. If you're new to Legend Codex, subscribe and tell me in the comments, is the Wendigo real? Be careful in the dark.